From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Mornings LALATE with a special breaking news report as the March jobs numbers were released this morning, and they were through the roof. The big great news about your $1,400 third stimulus check is it's landing today. It's landing in a lot of places, and I'll be covering it in this video. But the reason why I'm going a little bit live or a little bit early is because there's about to be a breaking news press conference from the President of the United States. The President of the United States, which I will be cutting into live. Oh, there we go. Perfect timing. The President's about to address the American people about the blockbuster, through the roof jobs number that came out in this morning. If you're a viewer of this channel, if you're a member of this channel, please subscribe. Also like this video. Members and subscribers saw the post to the community channel of this morning. Wall Street was expecting the new jobs number to come in this morning, about 600, 700,000 new jobs created. Previous month was 300,000. The number came in at nearly 1 million. 916,000 jobs created in the month of March. It was a categoric, through-the-roof number. I'll be breaking down the number with you right after the President goes live. He's about to address the American people about this number. Where did the numbers come? They were great across both private sector and public sector. The biggest growth number was leisure and hospitality. 280,000 jobs created in the month of March for leisure and hospitality. The Dow futures is up significantly, 150 points at 9 a.m. this morning. This is, of course, as Wall Street is closed today because of the holiday. The strongest hiring month on record since June of 2020 was last month, we learned this morning. The numbers also included an increase and a revision of the previous month of February and March. February was revised to 468,000. And here's the President. Let's listen in.
Before I start, I hope you all have a good weekend. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Well, good morning. This morning we've learned that our economy created 900,000 jobs in March. It means the first 2 months of our administration has seen more new jobs created than the first 2 months in any administration in history. But we still have a long way to go to get our economy back on track after the worst economic and job crisis in nearly a century. But my message to the American people is this: help is here. Opportunity is coming. And at long last, there's hope for so many families. Credit for this progress belongs not to me, but to the American people. Hard-working women and men who have struggled through this pandemic, never given up, and are determined to get the country back on track, as well as their families. But I think it's also a reflection of two things we're doing here. First, the new economic strategy we've launched, one focused on building from the bottom up and the middle out, and one that puts government on the side of working people, and that rewards work, not wealth. When we invest in the American people, it's not just those at the top that make our economy grow. They're the ones that make it grow, ordinary Americans. We saw the economy gain traction in March as the American Rescue Plan moved and got passed, bringing new hope to our country. And we're going to continue to implement that law in the weeks ahead. By April 7th, next week, over 130 million households will have gotten their $1,400 per person rescue check. Funds are on their way to local communities to put educators, healthcare workers, home healthcare aides, police, firefighters, sanitary workers back on the job. They're getting more aid for small businesses. We're also going to hang an open sign again on the door to rehire folks that had to be let go. And in the months ahead, a new child care tax credit will cut taxes and provide help to millions of families with young children. There's nothing, I know you're tired of hearing me say this, but I mean, there's nothing the American people cannot do if we give them a chance. And the American Rescue Plan does precisely that for hard-working middle-class folks at long last. Secondly, today's report also reflects the progress we've made on my other key priority, getting the American people vaccinated. We've turned around a slow-moving vaccination program into being the envy of the world. Yesterday, we set an all-time record for Thursday vaccinations, ending a 7-day period that was the first ever where we administered 20 million shots in 7 days. That's 20 million shots in a week. No other country has come close to doing that. So we made significant progress on that front, but the fight's far from over. We know that vaccines are safe and effective. We're vaccinating more people than any other country on earth. We also have progress on jobs and progress on vaccinations. But in the face of this great news, I need also to make this clear and direct statement to the American people. The progress we've worked so hard to achieve can be reversed. On the economic front, the benefits and the impact of the American Rescue Plan are temporary by design. It is a
If you're just joining me, you're watching a live feed right now from the White House as a blockbuster through the roof jobs report was released pre-dawn to viewers to this channel. I'll have all the breaking details in just a second. Let's continue to listen in.
That's why I proposed the American Jobs Plan on Wednesday in Pittsburgh. It's an 8-year program that invites, and let me put it another way. I've heard from everybody all across the country about the need for infrastructure. How many times have we heard this is Infrastructure Week the last 4 years? About every second week was Infrastructure Week, but no infrastructure was built. Well, this is an 8-year program that invests in our roads, our bridges, broadband, airports, ports, and fixing our water systems. It's going to repair our VA hospitals across the country. Many of them are more than 50 years old and are in real need of help. It will invest in research and development to outcompete China and the rest of the world. Independent analysis shows that if we pass this plan, the economy will create 19 million jobs, good jobs, blue-collar jobs, jobs that pay well. That's long-term jobs for pipe fitters, healthcare workers, those who work in the steel factories and the cutting-edge labs as well. The new report out this week shows that nearly 90% of the infrastructure jobs created in the American Jobs Plan can be filled by people who don't have a college degree. 75% of those good-paying jobs don't need an associate's degree. It's a blue-collar blueprint for increasing the opportunity for people. This is an economic opportunity of those who have helped build the country and have been ignored or neglected for much too long by our government. It's a once-in-a-generation investment in our economic future, a chance to win the future, paid for by asking big corporations, many of which do not pay any taxes at all, just to begin to pay their fair share. And it won't raise a penny tax on a family making less than $400,000 a year. No federal tax. No addition. When Congress comes back after this Easter break, I'm going to begin meeting with Democrats, Republicans about this plan. I've spoken to Republicans on the phone. I'm going to be looking forward to meeting with them. They all have their ideas about what it will take, what they like and what they don't like. That's a good thing. That's the American way. Debate is welcome. Compromise is inevitable. Changes in my plan are certain, but inaction is not an option. The American people have been promised action and infrastructure for decades. They've been promised that after our leaders would take our country and make it more competitive for decades. I've made my plan to address this long overdue need, and it's clear. Polls already show strong support for infrastructure investment from the American people, whether they're Democrats, Republicans, or independents. Congress should debate my plan, change it, and offer alternatives if they think that's what they have to do. But Congress should act. Likewise, on the virus, our program there too can be undone. As fast as we're moving, more adults remain to be vaccinated in April, May, and June than have already been vaccinated in February and March. We are not even halfway done yet. Too many Americans are acting as if this fight is over. It is not. I've told people that if my administration did the hard work of getting shots to all Americans in the next few months, and if the American people continued to do their part, mask up, practice social distancing, we could have a more normal July 4th. But this is still April, not July. We aren't there yet. And so cases are going up again. The virus is spreading more rapidly in many places. Deaths are going up in some states. So I ask, I plead with you, don't give back the progress we've all fought so hard to achieve. We need to finish this job.
You're listening into a live feed from the President of the United States after a jaw-dropping, through-the-roof jobs report was released pre-dawn today. The number was categorically shocking. Of all the great news about the jobs report and the great news about the landing of your stimulus check in just a few seconds.
Well, the earliest signs from this job report, this announcing today, are promising, and the American Rescue Plan is starting to make a real difference. Today's report also reminds us how deep a hole we started in. After a year of devastation, there are still 8.4 million fewer jobs today than there were last March. 8.4 million. We created 900,000 again, but 8.4 million jobs fewer today than last March. So too many Americans have been unemployed for longer than 6 months. Too many women have been forced out of the workforce. Unemployment among people of color remains far too high. Yes, we've made progress by starting to build an economy from the bottom up and the middle out. And yes, the American Rescue Plan is laying the foundation for that economy. But we still need the American Jobs Plan to build on that foundation, to build this country back better. So the bottom line is this. Today's report is good news. Today's report shows that the country can what it can do when we act together to fight a virus, to give working people the help they need. But we still have a long way to go. But I know that we're going to get there, and we're going to get there together. So may God bless you all, and may you have a happy Easter and a holy Easter. Thank you.
You've been watching a live feed direct here from Los Angeles. Oh, I guess he's going to answer some questions. No, he's not.
Raising taxes, the study show, will not slow the economy at all. Asking corporate America to pay their fair share will not slow the economy at all. It will make the economy function better and will create more energy. If the Republicans argue that we don't need infrastructure, it need not. They've been talking about the need for it for years now. If the Republicans decide that we need it, but they're not going to pay for it, it's just going to increase the deficit. If the Republicans say the next phase of my plan, we don't need to invest in VA hospitals and keep the sacred obligation we made to so many Americans. If the Republicans say that the 400,000 homes and schools and daycare centers that have lead pipes.
You've been watching the President of the United States. As he steps away from the microphone or the podium, it's going to be hard to hear his audio. How are you? Good morning. It's Friday morning. You're crushing the weekend? Well, the weekend's upon us. Thank you for joining me on a special early edition of Mornings LALATE. You have been watching a live feed of the President of the United States from Washington. Why? Because a jaw-dropping jobs report was released pre-dawn. I'll be getting to that jobs report in just a second. But the great news, if you're joining me, is that the $1,400 third stimulus check is landing today. It's landing today for not one, not two, but three different groups of people. Congratulations. This is the huge day you have wanted. $1,400 third stimulus checks are landing for three groups. Let's go through all the three groups that's already showing landing today. I've been seeing your private messages on social media. Thank you. You're my eyes and ears. Group number one, the March 26 mail check group Their checks are landing in mailboxes today. Viewers have used that informed delivery consent from U.S. Postal Service and have sent me screen grabs that said, "Thank you, LALATE. It shows that March 26 check is coming in the mail today. It's late." As I've been telling you all week long, that March 26 Wave 2 check mailed is late. So it is showing up today. If you have a March 26 mail check result, understand you're getting it. It's just late. Really great news. Today is apparently going to be a very big drop date for that check. Wave 3, mail check, April 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I have also had viewers say, "Congratulations, I got my April 2nd check today, and I got my April 1st check yesterday." So those Wave 3 mail checks are coming on time. This is great news. This, again, is Wave 3 this week. This week's mail checks, April 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, they are coming on time. So really great news. And then the super great news. Yes, today is Wave 4's dispatch day, sending out day, mailing date. Today is the day in which Social Security and Treasury send out Wave 4 deposits and also mail checks for Wave 4 for next week, for next Wednesday, for next Thursday, for next Friday. And guess what the great news is? Yep. The great news is that viewers have already seen that deposit amount post for Wave 4 next week, so they can withdraw the funds, and others show it now in the pending status. So this is huge, great news, and it will be you as well, too. If you have not gotten your stimulus check, this is what you need to know. If you have not gotten your stimulus check, if the IRS tool shows no information, if you're on SSI and SSDI, if you're on Social Security or Railroad benefits, if you're a veteran, if you have the Direct Express card, what you need to know is that the stimulus check may be landing in your mailbox today, this weekend, and early next week. It is absolutely landing right now. Or it could be landing by direct deposit. Which banks are releasing the funds today, Saturday, Monday, and Tuesday, and which banks are releasing the funds on Wednesday next week? I'll have all those details in just a second. But first, let me come back to the breaking financial news because this is huge. In the month of February, the federal government, the United States saw 300,000 jobs created. Well, today, analysts, Wall Street was expecting 700,000 new jobs created. No, the month of March came in at 916,000 new jobs created, nearly 1 million. It blew it through the roof. The number is through the roof. Where was the biggest growth? Leisure and hospitality, up 280,000. And we're not even done with the good news there. Why? Because today's numbers revised February and March's numbers. They went even higher. So January was revised to 233, and February, which I had just told you was 300,000, was revised to nearly 500,000. As you heard in the president's address, we have 8 million people who lost jobs since the pandemic started. Now, with not 1 million jobs created in the month of March, that would add up to about 8 months. Remember, over the last few weeks, you've heard me talk about 300,000, 500,000 a month. It would take 16 months. Now we're at 8 months because we're doing about 1 million a day, 1 million a month. But the great news continues right now. Why? Because Wall Street analysts this morning now say that if we're growing from 300 to 1 million, we're likely going to see the month of April at 1.5 million or 2 million. We could be back to normal in just less than 4 or 5 months, not 6 months and not double that. Remember, 8 million jobs, 1 million a month, that's 8 months. That's half of what I said just a few weeks earlier. But now analysts believe, no, this month, the month of April, could see 1.5 million jobs, even 2 million jobs. We could do this in 4 months. Really huge, great news. Where was the big job creation today? In the new report, transportation and warehouses added 48,000, social services 25,000. But the big number was hospitality and leisure. Now, what was also really big was construction, nearly 100,000. What were the reactions to the news today? Charlie Ripley, Vice President of Portfolio Management at Alliance Investments, said, "We're expecting a big number for today's jobs report delivered in a major way. This is the flip side of what we saw from March of last year, and another clear sign that the U.S. economy is on a strong growth." Today's labor market report emphasizes a strong recovery that is beginning to take shape in the service sector of the economy. The payroll data suggests that the labor market has begun to turn around, but we'll see a long way before substantial progress. Other analysts don't believe that's the case. They see the net gain as so substantial in just a short period of time that you could see 1.5 to 2 million in the month of April. Quincy Crosby, Chief Market Strategy at Prudential, shows that the economy is healing, and for those that lost their jobs, they're coming back to the workforce. Now, there's a series of other news reports that came out today as well, and I'm going to be touching on those in 1 second. But let me cut back to that $1,400 third stimulus check. Here's what's important to know, is that we have a group of different people that are all in the same group happening right now. Their checks are landing at the same time. As you see, every wave is a Wednesday. Wave 1, March 4th, 17th. Wave 2, March 24th. Wave 3, this Wednesday. Well, with every Wednesday mail direct deposit drop is also a mail drop. Those March 26 checks from Wave 2 came today in a big way. Those Wave 3 mail checks from April 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th started coming today in a big way. This is Friday. And what does Friday mean? It means the Treasury sending out another round, another wave. Wave 4 is being sent out today. And guess what? Some banks do not wait to release the Wave 4 next Wednesday. They release it today and tomorrow. This is huge, great news. So which banks would release and are going to release the funds early before April 7th? Let me go over those details right now with you. These are the banks that during Wave 1, 2, and 3 release the funds early. So if this is you, listen in. You're going to see money this weekend. They are Chime, Cash App, Bancorp, H&R Block Green Emerald Card, TurboTax, Green Dot, NetSpend, MetaBank. These are banks that during the first, second, and third wave release the funds early. They released them on Friday when they got it. Today they're going out. They release them this day after, Saturday, tomorrow, and they release them Monday and Tuesday. So congratulations. If you bank at those banks, those funds could be available starting today. Now remember, this wave, Wave 4, involves all walks of life. Who's in Wave 4? Everyone. SSI, SSDI, Social Security and Railroad Benefits, veterans, RB, Direct Express card, taxpayers, non-beneficiaries, non-filer filings. There's a lot of people who have not gotten stimulus checks, and you are all in these groups. Now, if you have used that IRS tool and it shows no results for your name, here's what you need to know. There's two things that could be happening. One, the tool may still not be working. Or two, the tool is about to update itself. And what is it about to say? I'll have those details for you in just a second. But let me cut back to the other surprising developments. There's a lot more coming up in this recording, so stay with me to the end. Boy. There is a new report also tied to today's job report that said there's a concern about supply demand. If you're anyone who buys items, whether it's food or soap or car parts, you've seen there's a supply problem currently. And that supply problem is really kicking in badly. There's a widespread supply chain issue. Suppliers are struggling to manage demand and capacity in the face of chronic logistics and labor issues, said a new report today. Businesses bottomed out in February and we're expecting steady improvement, but there's material availability issues. This is no different than if you go to your local store and they don't have stuff in there, or you're missing a car part and you call up the car part department and they say, we don't have it, it's really in backlog. The Institute for Supply Management's monthly manufacturing report released today showed that there was a 64.7% increase. That is the highest level since 1983. And because of that, there's a widespread supply chain issue, says the report. Suppliers are struggling to manage demand and capacity in the face of chronic logistics and labor issues. So if you're anyone that needs something for your business, whether it is a tire, or it is a potato chip, whether it is toilet paper or it is soap, there is a big supply level issue at hand. Meantime, a great news report that said that the business levels of the United States are currently at 93%. Business level activity has returned to close to near levels, according to a new report by Jefferies. They say the United States is currently operating at 93.5% of its pre-pandemic business levels. This is great news. Then the GDP number. You heard me talk about GDP with its growth. Growth is a determining factor of where stimulus goes. It's a determining factor of where unemployment goes. And it's also a determining factor about where inflation goes. And a new GDP report yesterday said that we came in at about 5% GDP for the month, for the first quarter of 2021. They're thinking about 10% growth for second quarter, which would be the highest number since 1990. But now that number may be going higher. The medium growth forecast before today's blockbuster jobs report was about a 9.3% growth number for second quarter this year for GDP. The consumer is a big story. It's not stimulus bills. It's leftover stimulus money that accumulated in bank accounts, says Ethan Harris, Bank of America Research. And then there's a spending issue, which is tied to what he just said. It's a big blank check for consumers, depending on how much they want to spend. There's a lot of pent-up money that has not been spent. And this is sort of along the lines of an unreceived stimulus check. The President of the United States just talked about jobs. And yes, he's a politician. And yes, he tried to talk about today's jobs report by talking about a bill that's not even a bill yet, the fourth stimulus package. He talked about today's jobs report as though his stimulus package, where people haven't gotten a stimulus check, has somehow helped create this growth of jobs last month. It did not. But what is really quite interesting is that there's a lot of pent-up spending power in this economy, a new report says. The question is how much leftover spending money is still driving the growth. To what degree do people have all this money still sitting around that they haven't spent, says the new Jefferies report. Here's what's going on. People used to be traveling. They weren't traveling, so they had that money saved up. They used to be driving their cars more, so they haven't used as much money on gas. They have that money sitting on their balance sheets. They also just got that stimulus check, and some of them just got that second stimulus check of $600. A lot of them haven't been using that and have been doing things that they normally do. Haven't been going to bars and spending a certain amount of money per week or going to restaurants. So there's a lot of pent-up spending and spent up money available for spending. And if that's true, that could impact this economy right away. What is the takeaway? The series of reports this morning now suggests that if you are focusing on the U.S. stock market, you need to understand, do not think that it's going on the downside, because you could miss upside risk. If you're on YouTube, you see a lot of people doing videos like this. They're trying to scare you about market crashes and market crash for Bitcoin and market crash for Tesla, and everything is going to go bad and everything is going to lose. And they do the scary face because it does really well for YouTube views. Let me tell you, someone who has been in this industry for many, many years, you don't want to focus that way, because these numbers now suggest you may be facing upside risk. The new reports today say that this economy could boom dramatically in the second quarter and rise stocks with it at a level you have never seen. And you don't want to be left behind on the roller coaster upward when someone on some YouTube channel is doing this or doing this or doing that or doing it with a purple background about how everything is going to crash and how everything is going to go in the tank. You don't want to be left behind, because this could be one of the biggest runs of the markets you have seen in many years. Let me cut back now to that $1,400 third stimulus check. The great news, if you're just joining me, is that it's landing today. It's landing today for three groups of people. The first group it's landing for is that March 26th mail check. You have been sending me great DMs all morning long. I really appreciate it. And they said, thank you, LALATE. I just got it. Number two, that April 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th mail check. That has been landing today, or they have gotten alerts that it's about to land over this weekend. Congratulations. That is Wave 3's mail check of April 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Finally, Wave 4. Wave 4 is today. Yes, we made it. We finally made it. Wave 4 is going out today from Treasury. And it went out presumably in the morning because they usually go out in the morning. So if you are at those smaller banks, which I detailed in this video before, then you could see the funds available today. Yes. Which are those again? Those are H&R Block, Green Emerald Card, TurboTax, Chime, Cash App, and also NetSpend MetaBank. You could see those funds available today. If not today, Saturday, Monday, or Tuesday. But if you don't see it by Monday, then it's in the mail. And then comes Wednesday. Wednesday will be both direct deposit and mail check recipients. Yes, if you're on SSI and SSDI, Social Security, or Railroad benefits. If you're not, if you're on the Direct Express card, if you're not, if you're with Comerica, if you're not, it may land by direct deposit on Wednesday for those big banks like Chase and Bank America, or maybe in the mail. Check that mail every day. Finally, what do you need to know about that IRS tool? The IRS tool is doing two things to people. It's either providing no information because it's broken, it doesn't work for them, or the check hasn't gone out. And I've had a couple of viewers say, LA, I just seen the tool sort of give a different result about no information. Now it says check back later. What's going on? The reason why it's saying that is because when today's running of Wave 4 goes out, it's going to update the tool tomorrow to reveal who is getting Wave 4, where it is, by direct deposit or by mail, and what date you're getting it. It's a big morning. If you have not subscribed, you want to subscribe. Also, like this video, and if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Also live right now, just going live, is the CDC, Dr. Walensky and Dr. Fauci. Let's listen in for just a few minutes. They are currently live right now.
Activities to help the public understand what actions to take depending on their vaccination status, we have placed updated information for consumers on the cdc.gov website. Thank you. I will now turn things over to Dr. Fauci.
Thank you very much, Dr. Walensky. I'd like to just spend a couple of minutes extending what Dr. Walensky said about the real world effectiveness of the vaccine. If I could have the first slide. There have been a couple of things that have occurred over the last several days that are worthy of note. The recent MMWR from the CDC showed that the messenger RNA of both Moderna and Pfizer continues to show a 90% effectiveness in real world conditions of health workers. Also, there was a report from Pfizer about 100% protective in adolescents,
Thank you, Shirley, for
as
the
well as
super
vaccine
chat.
protection
Very
in
kind.
adults up to 6 months. Next slide. This is the MMWR from the CDC, which, as I mentioned a moment ago, showed that for both the Pfizer and the Moderna, there's a durable efficacy of 90%. I want to point out in the yellow highlighted on the bottom of the slide, there were only 3 PCR confirmed infections that occurred in almost 79,000 person days with full immunization, which comes to 0.04 per 1,000 person days. This is extraordinary. When you do clinical trials, often the efficacy in the pristine conditions of a trial turn out to be better than the real world effectiveness. What we are seeing is effectiveness that's easily as good, if not better, than what we've seen with the efficacy. Next slide. In addition, in this slide here from Pfizer and BioNTech showed high efficacy up to 6 months. But I want to point out.
There's a series of great questions and comments in the live chat right now, and a few that I want to answer. So let me jump right in there. American Patriot asks, can I receive a mail check without it showing up in USPS informed delivery? Absolutely. USPS informed delivery is a great tool, but it's not a guaranteed tool. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Another person asked, my boyfriend didn't get it, but I got it. It's just the nuance of the situation. I have people at the same bank that are brother and sister, boyfriend and girlfriend. One gets and one doesn't get it. Michelle says, what about NetSpend? Nothing in the mail yet. So for NetSpend, if you do not see a deposit by next Tuesday, you need to presume it's in the mail because NetSpend pays early. The reason why I went over those certain banks and so you know which ones pay early, is that if they do not pay early, you need to presume you are a male recipient. Male recipients will really manifest themselves clearly if they don't see those early banks that always pay early doing that deposit. And there you go. Let me cut back to what Dr. Fauci is saying right now. And keep your great comments coming. I see them.
From 6 months to 11 years. And by the end of this year, we should have enough information to be able to safely vaccinate children of virtually any age. So the bottom line message is that vaccines work very well in the real world setting. They work against variants, although we need further data to confirm that. They are durable for at least 6 months, and they work in adolescents. Very, very good reason for everyone to get vaccinated as soon as it becomes available to you. Back to you, Jeff.
Actually, over to Dr. Murphy, please.
Well, thank you so much, Jeff. And it's good to be with you, Dr. Fauci and Dr. Walensky again. And good to be with everyone who's joining us this morning. Yesterday,
and with that, let me
we
answer some of the great questions, because boy, you folks are delivering some fabulous questions this morning. One of the questions someone just asked was a great economics question and stimulus question, which was, because our unemployment numbers are up, Diane Davis, will the president cancel our unemployment PUA, FPUC, etc.? He will not cancel it, but the question is whether he will extend it. Here's what you need to know, is that the current third stimulus package for unemployment benefits is to September. Will there be another round of unemployment benefits past September? My prediction is no. My prediction is that Democrats will not give the president a support for extending FPUC past September. Here's what's important to understand where we are on the path for recovery. Over the last few days, I've talked about how many months does it take us to get back to normal? And what is back to normal? It's unemployment, re-employment. The president mentioned in the video when I went live, 8 million jobs missing. I've been saying that number for a while. You know the number. There's 8 million jobs missing. So the question is, how many months to get 8 million jobs back to normal? This is very important. Of the most important number on this channel, that number is the most important number. I talk about it, the president talks about it, and the head of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, talks about it, and Janet Yellen, the head of Treasury. They all say they're going to be there to support this economy until that number is back to zero. Now, you and I know they're not going to bring it down to zero, but close to zero. 8 million missing jobs. Okay, so how do you get 8 million missing jobs back to normal? How do you get those jobs restored? We were doing 300,000 jobs a month, we thought, and that meant 16 months. 16 months, a year and a half, a very long time. So that's why Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve, the White House, and myself said, you know what, we're going to need all the way until next year until jobs are restored. That's because of 16 months. But today, the new jobs numbers did two things. One, it revised last month's number, saying it's no longer 300,000, it's actually 500,000. Okay, that's a big difference. And then saying this month, February's number, and now saying March's number is nearly 1 million. Well, 1 million into 8 is 8 months. It's not 16 months. And guess what? Analysts are now saying next month, or this month, April, will go even higher, 1.5 new jobs, 2 million jobs. If we do 2 million jobs in the month of April, that means in 4 months we're back to normal. Not 8 months and not 16 months. 4 months? When's 4 months? I haven't even thought this through. I'm doing it live on camera with you for the first time, because this is all breaking this morning. 4 months from now is April, May, June, July. There we go. July, and unemployment benefits are extended to September and third stimulus. They're never going to do an extension of FPUC past September. In fact, there was a series of reports this morning wondering if this FPUC, UI, and PUA should not have been done to September. It just looks a little bit too far out there. There were worries that people weren't getting back to work if there are 4, 5, 6 million jobs created and people are still getting unemployment benefits in June or July. Bottom line is, unemployment benefits will likely not be extended past July. Next, A lot of the benefits you think about may not get extended past July. So that's why it's important to understand when the economy is growing very quickly, and if jobs are back to normal, then how we think about relief changes dramatically. Thank you for joining me for a big, massive early mornings broadcast. It came on early because of the breaking news. If you're just joining me, I went live with the President of the United States because he was reacting in a live broadcast to the new jobs numbers. It was released this morning by Department of Labor. It was through the roof. The new number of jobs created last month was 1 million. They're expecting 600,000. The month before was 300, and it was revised to 500. It's a huge number. The president used the number to say that he was credited for the number, which he's clearly not, and then to use the number as a way to push his fourth stimulus package, as a politician would likely do. But the great news for you is that that third stimulus checks of $1,400, if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad Benefits, and Direct Express, are landing today in 3 different ways. By mail for those March 26 people, by mail for those April 2nd, 3rd, and 4th people, and also for the 4th round for direct deposit early payment for certain banks. Everyone else is going to see the availability of the funds this coming week. I'll be tracking all these details and jumping into the live chat with you next as Mornings LA continues in just a little bit. I appreciate you for joining me. If you missed early Mornings LA, which you may have, watch that because it goes over more about what's unfolding this weekend. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.